Still Steve, not Stephen Stills. That's a good guitar player. And I am a person who's played guitar for many years, but really maybe once or twice in the at least 50 years of playing guitar could I ever say that I really sounded good. And that was because I was playing with some really good guitar players. And so I was just kind of lost in the background, but it was fun. Well, this is going to be probably a second video. I'm going to just make sure I started it, which I did. So this is going to be a second video for today. And because I felt like there was some things to say about the Mayan calendar. So here goes. I'm gonna go off script. I wrote a script. I just wrote this script, but I'm gonna go off script immediately and say, I love the Mayan calendar. And I can hear my kids say, well, why don't you marry her? And I would say back to them probably, because Maya is illusion. And how do you marry illusion? And they would get confused, and then they would learn something. Because I learned in NLP, much as I was learning how to parent children, and I was taking neuro-linguistic programming classes, so of course I was experimenting with my kids continuously, their whole lives. I still am. But one of the things in NLP, and this is still off script, one of the things in NLP was you can only learn through confusion. I'll leave it to that. You can think about that later. So we have, I didn't even say the first part yet. This Saturday is the first day of the 13th month of the Mayan calendar year. And so the 13th is the last month of the Mayan calendar year. So we have 2 more days left of the lunar month of cooperation. So if you're going to cooperate, you're going to have to do it in the next 2 days, because we'll be moving out of the moon of cooperation, and then everybody can do what they do next following cooperation. So Saturday, we move into the moon of presence. And the 3 words related to presence are endure. Just feel that. Endure. And I'm going to, again, go off script. When I say endure, I don't mean do nothing. When I'm speaking for the Mayan calendar, which I read it a lot so I can speak for it, and if I get it wrong, I get slapped on the head. But I'm just going to go ahead and say this. Endure does not mean to not do anything or put up with whatever's going on. Endure means holding the space of your dreams while waiting for it to birth. That's enduring. And I've been at a number of births, and I'll tell you, it's much easier on the men than it is on the women. No matter whether the women there are giving birth or just supporting birth, the man's just called in if he's a chiropractor and he needs to move something. That's about it. Other than that, the births I was at, I was mostly a space holder. But in the one birth that was my favorite birth, and this is all off script, I told my client if she had any issues at the time of her birth, she could contact me and I would come over and see if I could help. So I got a phone call at 2 a.m, and I got dressed and I went to the hospital. And normally back in the day, Um, they they didn't even want you to come into a hospital if you're a chiropractor because you might kill somebody, you know. So I walked into this St. Joe's Hospital in Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti, Michigan, and the guy at the front desk goes, "Are you the chiropractor?" And I'm like, "Oh, how do I answer that? Like, yes. Can I still go in the room?" But anyway, I said, "Yes." And he goes, "They're waiting for you. Follow me." And he leads me back to the birthing room. And there's two midwives. And my client is lying on her back. And she's got all these monitors attached to her body. And the machine is kind of making horrible noises, like ee 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 ee, like an alarm going off. So I think it monitors kind of like fetal somethings and parental somethings, and it measures things. I don't know what it measures because I never went to that school. But I walked in and the two midwives looked up, expectantly, like I was going to do something, so I did. And I said, "Is it okay if we have her stand?" And they said, "Sure." So they helped her get on her feet. She's in the middle of labor, but they helped her get on her feet. And I put my hands on the pelvis because I could feel that that's where the tension was. And this had to be 30 years ago. And I put my hands on and my client was also my youngest daughter's piano teacher. Just to bring it into context. So I put my hands on her pelvis and I could feel that it was stuck. So I just began just gently moving with her gentle motions and started to feel the pelvis, the ilium, kind of rearrange its position related to the sacrum. And then the sacrum began to just soften and drop down a little bit, and the pelvis kind of unlocked in the pubic bone in the front of the pelvis. And it unlocked, and the whole pelvic rhythm came into play. So my hands were on the side of the pelvis, and I could feel the pelvis begin to rock forward and back. And each time it rocked back, it opened a little bit more. And the sounds on the machine behind me, which had started out ee, 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 and they went ee, and it started sounding like a singing bowl. It started giving out this resonant quality, and and then everything just kind of felt like it fell into place. And so I said to the midwives, "Would you be able to set up the end of the table so that she can actually be sitting on the end of the table and have a stand to put her feet on?" And they said, "Sure." And so they did it. And so then they got her back up on the table, standing on this shelf below the end of the table. So she's sitting on the end of the table and her feet are down, because I had heard that it's much easier, and it made sense, to birth a child using gravity. So not lying on your back trying to push a baby uphill. If you've ever pushed a car uphill, you realize it's very difficult. But downhill, pretty easy. It's always just good to have someone catch the car so it doesn't just keep going. So anyway, literally within 5 to 10 minutes, the baby was born. And then I asked the midwives, is it okay if you not cut the cord until it stops pulsing? And they said, "Yeah, that'd be fine." I said, "So if you could just hand the baby to her and let her put it to her breast." And she put the baby to her breast, and the baby immediately started, breastfeeding, and there's this whole bonding thing that went on. It was just like heaven on earth birth in a hospital. Amazing. Endure. Transcend, which means rise above. And my suggestion is right now, with the amount of plasma on the planet, that transcending is putting your attention in and on your crown chakra, because that's where the light comes in. So transcend this earthly little light, not as much light as we would like to have. When we transcend and we put our attention on the source of the light, being the crown chakra and also being the root chakra, then the light begins to come in. And I'm really not staying very well to the script, but it's still working. So we'll just keep going. So then this light comes in and goes through the spine and goes out the feet into the earth. And the light of the earth responds like a love affair between the cosmos and the earth. And the earth responds and brings that fiery potential from the healing center of the earth where the plasma is generated. And that energy comes up through the feet, goes up and out the crown chakra, creating a full relationship between sky and earth through us, who are Winklil. And in the Mayan language, that means human being, but is defined as a cosmic vibratory root system. That's what you are if you're human watching this and not a bot, not AI going like, did he say vaccine? Okay, so that's Saturday. So there's a quote here that's from the calendar that says, where there is heart, there is life as art. The infinite creative potential of every now invites us to grow love. And that's a quote from Eden Sky, the co-founder of the 13moon.com Mayan calendar, which you better order it pretty soon because you only got a month before. And it's $33.33. And I'm just going to suggest it'll be the best $33.33 you've ever spent. And that includes shipping and everything. And I have all my calendars. They're like National Geographics for some people. The Mayan calendar, I don't collect a lot, but I keep my Mayan calendars because I make notes in it. Okay, so I've been invited by a dear friend, and I wrote it DEER because she's a friend of the earth, to participate in a restorative, universal, ancestral healing this Sunday. I can tell you what a privilege it is to be invited to this. Because to be invited to this means that I am a trustworthy man. That I've been through the tests, I've been through the fire, I've been through the cleansing, and I can be a part of primarily, I'm guessing, mostly women, doing a restorative, universal, ancestral healing for the planet this Sunday. So, Saturday is the first day of the month, of month 13. And it's a yellow overtone Sunday, guided by the crown chakra and Elegance. Sunday, the day of the ancestral healing, universal, restorative. I guess maybe I'd wanted to say universal restorative, but restorative, universal. Anyway, the healing group I'm going to be participating with, it's on Sunday, and it's a red Rhythmic Dragon day, which is guided by birth and held by the root chakra, where birth takes place from my perspective. And I am a red dragon, according to the Mayan cosmology. And by that being my day of birth, my life is guided by birth, birthing new energies, bringing in new energies. So then Monday, this is an action-packed few days coming up. Monday is a white resonant wind day, guided by my recently incarnated granddaughter, Nomi, of the third eye, and the consciousness of timelessness. Monday is also a full moon at 4:56 p.m. Pacific time, and leading to a galactic activation portal and light activation of dormant DNA. So is that same day or the next day? No, that's the next day. So the full moon is on Monday, and on Tuesday is a galactic activation portal on a blue galactic night day. Is there anything more here? So the galactic activation portal is light activation of dormant DNA. So it's activating DNA that is now the time for it to come forth within our systems. So please fasten your seatbelts, place your trays in an upright position. We are going for a ride. What does one do to complete the Mayan year that is about seeding a new consciousness on the earth? The last day of this year is Friday, July 24th, and is a blue rhythmic hand day, guided by the heart chakra, healing, and accomplishment. And that's the last day of this year. Heart chakra, healing, and accomplishment. And then the last words I say are, may we seed peace. May we seed love. May we seed action. May we seed hope. May we be guided by kindness and compassion. And may we be authentic in our lives. So it didn't go too long, but anyway, that's it. It's going to be a great month. It's going to be a great a great 12th month, ending of the 12th month, and a great 13th month, and a great finale for the year. And may it serve everyone right. To have chosen to be incarnated at this time during massive changes in the consciousness of the entire planet. Fasten your seatbelts. Appreciate you.